This is not your standard setup. This is a 4-course fine dining setup, but the fine dining arena comes with a lot more accoutrement, whereas casual, family style, quick service restaurants maybe have a roll up with a fork and an entree knife inside there. But I want to make sure that you're familiar with everything on one of the most complicated tables. And this is American fine dining, not French. Imagine if it was French, we'd have twice as many things on the table, and most of them would be silver, and I do not like to polish silver. So the rule to setting up any table is to start from the bottom up. You want to make sure the base of your table is clean, because if someone drops their fork, never go pick that up. But sometimes I look down there and they see things like underwear or a dirty foot. There may be something down there that you don't want them to see. So make sure it's clean underneath the table. When you do put the linen on the table, you want the inseam down. Make sure it's free of stains and that it has been ironed. And we're using a black linen. Most linen is white. Research shows us that people are more satisfied with their meals with white linen. So our basic setup is going to be directly in front of the chair. So you want to set up all your chairs around the table first. And then you're going to put your charger. And this is an entree plate, but we're using it as a measurement tool. Your charger down second. From there, that's the center. And everything goes out to the left and the right and to upward from that center piece. The rule of thumb is a thumb measurement. So your measurement is from the base, is your thumbnail. Everything should be spaced one thumbnail apart. This means that the plate or the charger is one thumbnail from the edge of the table. The entree fork, which is this fork, is one thumbnail away from the charger. The salad fork, which is the second course, is one thumbnail away from the entree course. And of course, same thing, one thumbnail up from the base. Your napkins, if we want to do one thumbnail, it'd be there, but that looks a little odd, and we want to create symmetry. Peer-reviewed research shows us if you give us a beautifully lined up, gridded table that is balanced, the guests their satisfaction will increase by 40%. So you want everything to be perfectly lined up. The entree knife is directly to the right of the charger, and it is a thumbnail away from the charger plate and a thumbnail away from the base of the table. The salad fork is the same, a thumbnail, and the soup spoon, thumbnail and a thumbnail. I'm going to remove the charger to show you the dessert. This is American dessert because our table is a little tight. Traditionally, with fine dining, we put the cutlery down now for dessert. However, you can bring that out later if there's not enough room, but I have to slide it underneath the charger for the sake of space. And of course, it's going to be one thumbnail apart. You want to make sure your entree plate fits in there, because if you put this too close and you drop the entree plate, guess what sound you're going to hear? And that's a cringe to anybody. That ruins their dining experience. Your water glass is going to go directly above the entree, not the salad. It's going to go above the entree. Guess how far? One thumbnail. And then all your wine glasses, traditionally put down one wine glass and slide in a flute, or slide in a white wine glass, and then your red, and then your ports and sherries go down. But they always go at a 45-degree angle from the center of the water glass. They do not go to the right, they go to the left at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to measure it about a thumbnail away, 45 degree. This is set up. This is ready to go. Everything's clean, and of course your accoutrement, polished, glistening, right? And with the water will be full, half full. I'll do a wine demonstration in a moment, but all your silverware should be glistening and shining. And let me show you how the other side should look. Now, one key thing I want to discuss is that when you are wondering, like, do I point the knives this way? Do I point them that way? Do I just kind of line them up and guess what is perpendicular to the edge of the table? This table is perfectly square, which is a great way to work. That helps your mind line things up. However, many restaurants have round tables. You just screw it, right? So what do? If you have, here's the key, if you have an odd number, you're going to point all your cutlery to the middle or in between those two setups on the opposite side of the table. If you have an even number of guests, like this one has 2, the knives are going to point directly to the fork on the opposite side of the table. So this is seat 1, that's seat 2. Seat 1 is going to point at seat 2. If we had 3 people, I would be pointing the forks and the knives in between seat 2 and 3. So if this was a round table here and I had another setup here, my cutlery is going to point right in between. So if you had a large party, a table of 10, my seat 1, this is seat 1, is going to point directly at seat number 5, which is on the opposite side of the table. And that'll bring symmetry and, of course, increase your satisfaction, your guest satisfaction. And opposite, if you, you're not going to point them if you have an odd number. Say you have 13 guests sitting at one table. You're going to want to point in between seat 6 and seat 7, which is the dead middle. So 1 is going to point in between 6 and 7, all the cutlery. And that'll give you perfect symmetry across the table. If you ever have a crease, once you set up, you're like, oh, there's a giant crease in the middle of the table. What do? I can't move all this again. Take it off. A fun way to do it is to grab the longest side of the table and give it a little tug, a gentle tug, and then go to the opposite side, tug it, do it again on 4 sides, and that should pull the crease out. Here's my water glass, which goes directly above the entree, and my wine glass, which is at a 45-degree angle, 1 thumb width away.